I offer my respectful obeisances to all the assembled devotees. Who else but very advanced, high-minded devotees would join such a call in a mood of cooperation and enthusiasm to expand the distribution of Gaudiya literatures all over the world. I feel really fortunate to be with all of you. Thank you very much for being here. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, Shishi Panchatattva, who led the way by example in their mood of going everywhere to give everyone an opportunity to take to Krishna consciousness. Oftentimes when we're performing book distribution, we wonder, am I doing it the right way? Am I going too far this way or too far that way? But we can look at the example of Srila Prabhupada and also the Panchatattva in how Srila Prabhupada went to various places, guided by Krishna to distribute Bhakti Godhead magazine and sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, so forth. He did it himself. And the Panchatattva are known to have plundered the storehouse of love of God and to have distributed its contents practically indiscriminately. They didn't consider who was a fit or unfit candidate. One of the devotees yesterday, a young devotee, who was telling me that over the weekend when we had a gathering downtown San Francisco to distribute Bhagavad Gitas and other books, she was amazed that her mind had told her that certain people weren't going to take and wouldn't be interested, and then they took. And she found it a relief to know that her mind didn't know what was actually going on in the material world, but by following the order of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to approach everyone, she discovered that willing souls are there behind it all. And I'm feeling this energy of exhilaration from the devotees everywhere in the world who are going out and knocking on doors, meeting people on the streets, calling on the phone, or introducing themselves through social media, and then just bringing up the subject matter. Hey, did you remember that you're a spiritual soul and that the material world is a wrong turn? And we have, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says through Bhaktivinoda Thakur's pen in his song Jeev Jago, N-A-H-E Ashaudi Maya Nashibharo Lagi. I have the medicine for you. So we're really in a fortunate position to have the medicine available to us and then an abundance of it to give to other people. We can't take it for granted either, because if we become complacent and think it's commonplace or that I can get it anytime I want, then we might be disappointed when it's not as available. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is known to have said, strike while the iron is hot. And I propose that we're in a really good position right now, all of us together, to make a surge around the world. Not just a surge, but also sustainable base and growth through which we can dramatically expand the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books in particular around the planet. I mean, why not? That's a good mark to leave on the world. We're here for a little while, and if that's what's in the information about what we did in our lives, that'll be great. I have a few slides to go through regarding some of the principles that are working well. And if you'll indulge me, I'll go ahead. Everyone okay? Pradyumna Vasudev Prabhu, okay? Okay. The Live campaign, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, Saraswati Thakur says, those who have life, they can preach. And also by preaching, we get life. It's important for our movement. So live to give. And by giving, we actually grow and live. So this is the second year we're doing Live to Give. It's a brand of the Prabhupada Marathon, which is the overarching theme. So we're doing it for Prabhupada, following in his footsteps. He showed the example. Okay, next. The global goal is 2.2 million Bhagavad Gitas. Please take a moment in your mind's eye to see what that looks like. Yesterday when I pulled up to the temple here at ISV, I noticed that part of the parking lot was not available because there were huge pallets of books covered by tarps. They didn't all fit inside our book room, so now they're out there taking up parking spaces. And I thought, this is what we want to see. And if you can think of 2.2 million Bhagavad Gitas stacked together, what that looks like, and the satisfaction if all of us together could meet and break down all those boxes together after they're all gone. And then we can meditate on where each one of them went. Every book finds its mark. So it's September 21st through January 7th. The 2.2 global marathon to distribute at least this many books. Next, a few success principles. First is assume it can be done. There's always a way in which when we propose a new goal, the mind that seeks convenience, the convenience of the plateau, which means I'm good enough with the status quo, why do I have to do anything more? We already did it. This is our enemy. And along with wanting to stay in the status quo come a lot of reasons the mind will produce from its little factory about how it can't be done and why there are obstacles to actually reaching the goal. A more productive and I would say exhilarating way to look at it is to assume that it can be done first. It's bad to make assumptions generally, but this is a different case because we're backed by Lord Chaitanya and he's the greatest spiritual capitalist. He'll write the checks if we think big and make reasonably big goals that we can stretch towards. And if we assume they can be done and then work backwards from there and find out what the steps are, we'll be successful. So this is a tattoo. You can get if you want a tattoo, you can get this tattoo today. Make it a temporary one, maybe. Next. Encourage the heck out of everyone. You can just try this today wherever you are and see if it works in your own family, in your own ashram, wherever you are, or pick up the phone and just for no apparent reason, just encourage the heck out of somebody and see what their reaction is. See if they hang up on you. See if they don't like you anymore. Or if it opens up a whole new world of communication. We're a volunteer organization. We go by inspiration. And it's really easy to get downtrodden quickly in the material energy. Everyone experiences it. Even Brahma, in creating the universe, has times of darkness and gloom. So we need encouragement. In fact, prachodayat, those who chant the Gayatri Mantra know this word. The Lord wants to encourage us all. That's why the sun comes up in the morning. It's an encouragement to us. It's okay. You can live. You can grow. All the plants say, yay, we can grow now. The sun's here. What is the sun? It's Krishna. So this is how our organization grows. This is what a spiritual organization is. It's an organization of encouragement. So please feel free to encourage the heck out of everybody. When you find a little spark, fan it until it starts to blaze. That's how this thing works. And when we go on Sankirtana, when we're meeting people on the street, all we're doing is encouraging the heck out of them. And then we give them a guidebook about how to stay encouraged for the rest of eternity. Next. Adopt Katvanga consciousness. Maharaj Katvanga is our hero. He's in the Srimad Bhagavatam. he did his duty fighting for the demigods for many, many years. And then when the wars were over that he was helping the demigods fight, they asked that great hero, can we give you a benediction of any kind? He said, please just tell me when I have to leave my body. And they said, you have a moment left only. And in that time, he's famous for having taken full shelter of Krishna. And we've found during interacting with devotees all over the world that sometimes devotees find out sooner and some find out later about various dates and deadlines and goals. And some that find out later say, oh, but there's not enough time. I just found out now. Just remember Katvanga, what he did in 1 minute. And we found similarly those who assume it can be done and adopt Katvanga consciousness say anything can happen in a minute. What to speak of a day or 3 days. Do what you can within that time. And you'll be surprised, because this is a spiritual endeavor. So remember Katvanga, pray to Katvanga, be Katvanga. Next. Get Jaladuta consciousness. This is actually what everyone wants from joining a spiritual movement. They want Jaladuta consciousness. We want to do something bold for Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada did something bold. Our boldness may be exhibited in a slightly different way than Prabhupada's. But if we challenge ourselves in some way and depend on Krishna the way Prabhupada did, remember Prabhupada getting on the Jaladuta just with the order of his guru and with his books and with the holy names and in going out. That's where we want to live. We don't want to live oppressed by our mind, packed away in some apartment, afraid to make that call, to make the move. We want to live on the edge where we're always pushing ourselves out into the world to do more. See, there's an echo. Okay, next. And then how we do is more important than what we do. Everyone please say, how we do is more important than what we do. We can get carried away with, okay, I achieved this goal, that goal, but how did we do it? Were we kind to all living entities? Did we leave everyone with a good impression? Did we support the devotees? Did the devotees feel that they were part of the team? Were we careful about our speech? Did we not talk about people behind their backs, etc., etc.? Krishna talks about these things in the Gita. For instance, in the 12th chapter of the Gita, he mentions that those who are not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, those who do not become the enemy of their enemies, and so forth. There are many qualities. He says, these devotees are very dear to me. So how we're doing this is the most important aspect. What we do, it can always be bigger. But if we attend to how we're doing it, we'll be successful. Next. Management is meant for managing the results of the mission. The mission is to reach out and give people an opportunity to read Krishna conscious literature, chant the holy names, and take up the lifestyle of Krishna consciousness. So our management is mission-oriented. The more it's mission-oriented, the more we're aiming for increasing the actual mission. The more management and the problems that come from it are tolerable. Not just tolerable, we invite them because we know we're making progress by overcoming them. Otherwise, we're managing on a plateau and it becomes burdensome. When we're engaged in the mission and we're pointing towards newer and newer goals to expand the mission, it's mission-oriented management, and it fits and it makes sense. That's what management's for. Next. We're finding everywhere that the more we emphasize the team over the individual accomplishments, the more people get involved, and we don't find that those especially high achievers, are discouraged at all. Oftentimes it shakes out the 80-20 rule, that 20% do 80% of the result, or achieve 80% of the result. But we find when we emphasize the team, how we reached the goal together, the team goal, and we don't have to go through and emphasize what each one of the participants achieved. Yeah, Anukul Seva, that's funny phenomena, this echo. But rather we focus on one aspect, which is our work together and how we've cooperated together to reach the goal. We don't find that the individuals are then neglected. Everybody knows who's doing well. Everyone can see it for themselves. Just as in the Gudicha temple, Lord Chaitanya noticed who was collecting more of the dust and straw that was there, and he appreciated them, but he said, teach the others how to do it too. It was a team spirit. So you can experiment with this and find out how it works, but all over the world, the devotees who are gravitating towards emphasizing team over individual are excelling. And one of the other reasons that it works is that those who can only do a little bit are not so encouraged to participate when we're ranking the topmost individuals and putting the spotlight on them, because they can't possibly do as much as the others, but they can do something. And when we have a lot of people each doing a little bit, it comes out to a lot. When we first started this system at ISV many years ago, somebody called us and said, you can't do that. This is different. We said, what's different? And he said, well, Prabhupada wanted us to compete. And so we said, well, why don't you compete against us then? We'll do our system and you do yours. And the numbers now speak for themselves. Okay, next. Birds fly in the sky as high as they're able. So whatever goals we set are really arbitrary. They're random. We do measure. See, how can we do a little bit more? But you can always add more zeros onto a digit like 1, and it can be bigger and bigger. It goes to infinity. So it's not exactly the number that's important. It's how much capacity we're developing. Why are we setting goals? For what it makes of us to achieve them. For what it makes of us to achieve them. And as we go for goals year after year, we increase our capacity. So we want capacity in hearing and chanting. We want a capacity to increase in also distribution of transcendental literatures. Next. It's a giving movement. Preaching means giving. Outreach means giving. And the more we give, the more we grow. It's good to know this mathematical equation, because in material consciousness, I think the more I try to keep and the more I hoard, the more I am wealthy. But actual wealth means the ability to give, the capacity to give more. And the more we give, the more we grow. Next. Here's a few innovations that flat out work. Next. Placements in hospitals and libraries. Next. Motel Gita, reaching almost 1 million copies now in motels. Next. Corporate Sankirtana is a year-round effort. There's a team required. There's leadership required. There's cultivation required. Corporations are cities unto themselves. They're communities. And when devotees are aware of the potential of all the people in the corporate environment they're in, and they take time to cultivate these people throughout the year, then when it comes time for giving, and everybody in the corporate world wants to give because they feel extremely burdened by all the money they're making. It's really an onerous proposition to keep money, because then you're thinking, what should I do with it? Is there going to be tax on it? How do I hide it? Blah, blah, blah. So when there's a good cause available and there's people you like, it's a relief. And plus, people get great benefit, not just spiritually, but also economically by giving. So the corporate environment is made for us. Lord Chaitanya put to get people together in these groups just so that we could cultivate them. So make sure that you're taking advantage of the corporate environment to expand book distribution and to milk them for the resources that we can use to expand all over the world. Let me know if I need to do anything on Akul Siva. I realize you're vexed by the echo. Next.
Maharaj, if you could just mute and unmute once.
Mute and unmute. Okay, sure, I can do that. Hare Krishna.
We'll try that.
Okay. Kids Sankirtana is huge. There are lots of kids in our movement. Thank goodness. And they're brilliant. They're coming in from higher planets. And if you incorporate the kids into the book distribution, you'll find that they're highly competent. And another great benefit, I was just in the UK talking to a lot of the parents there because they've been doing Kids Sankirtan for several years. And they mentioned that it's the one time that the parents and the kids are all together doing service. Sometimes at the temple we go off in different directions to do service, but here they're all together. And another great benefit is the kids develop talents that are lifelong and helpful. They learn how to manage things. They learn how to talk to people. They learn how to deal with rejection. It's extremely powerful for young people, kids growing up, to learn how to do book distribution. So try it. It works. It's fantastic. It's enlivening. Stack mania. Do stack books. This picture doesn't show exactly what's going on because in stacks, it's important to tie them together with a ribbon. You tie it together with ribbon and you can have 3, 5, 7 or more. And when you hand over a stack that's cobbled together by ribbon, you just say a little bit about each book, and we do have a video you can watch. We can send out to everybody, or maybe it's on our website, and you can learn how to do it. Gopal Champu Prabhu is an expert, and he tells exactly how to sell 7 books at one time. It's actually easier than selling 1 book at a time. So do stack books together. Take the time to combine them. Next. Gita Jayanti fundraising is huge. It's a date and time which we need. And if you put all your energy into this as this vital date, then and you set goals for fundraising towards this date, you'll raise hundreds of thousands of dollars by people who want to see the Bhagavad Gita distributed. It's a worthy cause. It's a place where people really want to put their money to see books going out, the Bhagavad Gita going out. So take full advantage to the extent you take advantage to that extent, you'll be successful, guaranteed by the mercy of the Bhagavad Gita. Next. Arabic books. I don't know if you know this, but you get triple points for Arabic books. Do the math. Look on Google and find out where the Arabic-speaking people are. They're very nice. If you go to the neighborhoods, you can find some Arabic areas. You can go door to door. You can also Arabic speaking areas. You can also work around the restaurants and so forth. And when you sell Arabic books, people are ecstatic to take them. I mean, most people. Some people won't be, but that's common in any language. And it's especially appreciated by Srila Prabhupada. I said that in the passive voice. Let me say, Prabhupada especially appreciated the distribution of Arabic and other Middle Eastern languages like Farsi. He said, if anybody preaches to these people and distributes in these languages, I take the dust from that devotee's feet and I put it on my head. So Prabhupada was keenly interested. So this is an insider's tip. If you want extra mercy, what to speak of extra points, get into Arabic. And all you have to do is get the books. It's one of the laws of book distribution, get books. If you don't have them, you won't distribute them. But if you get them and you do a little research, take you 5 minutes to find out where the Arabic-speaking neighborhood is in Google, you can excel, and you can do 3 times bigger than you did last year by going all in on Arabic. Next. Our door hanger project last year, during which here at ISV and other places, I can say for ISV we hung 5,000, at least 5,000 on doors because we were totally locked down. And we put a cookie and we put some information inside, as you can see, and the Bhagavad Gita. We got hundreds of cards back from people thanking us. Not only that, many people joined our Bhakti community after that, right from these door hangers. Some of our nicest new people joined from this. Also going around to the emergency frontline workers and giving them books and prasadam. They're very appreciative to get a little attention. Sometimes people talk about them in the news and glorify them, but they don't get much personal attention. Next. So our global goal, everyone, is 2.2 million. Every book counts. Organize your community, your household, your continent in such a way as to help mightily towards this goal. And the more mightily you work towards it, the more mightily Krishna will empower you and give you a taste. Shushu Sho Shradhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahatseveya Vipra Punya Tirtana Shevana. Lucky are those who can join a cause which pleases a pure devotee. If you do that, all good things will come. The best thing that can come is a taste for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy names. Is there any other slide? This looks like the terminal. Ooh, look at this. Here are some, last night we met with Australia and New Zealand. And this is these are their preliminary pledges for the continent. We're looking at 7 continents. And of course, Antarctica, we're still looking for some people to move up there. But here's Australia. You can see little sprouts coming out of the ground like a gardener's field. What's the next one? New Zealand, their next door neighbors. All the different projects and communities. And Fiji next. Fiji is the leading indicator country. The way Fiji goes, the rest of the world, per capita, they're doing huge in Fiji. Very enthusiastic approach, and they didn't think they could do much at all. But now it's just growing and growing, because once you add a little bit of effort backed by enthusiasm for expanding the Sankirtana movement, then Lord Chaitanya will come and write you a check personally. And he'll say, I'll give you full facility, I'll send new people, I'll make your place flourish. That's how the world gets better. There is no other solution. Next. Africa. We have a vision that this whole continent will be covered with these little lights indicating communities that are distributing books. We want to see this lit up all the way. Every continent we want to see like that. But look at that, Africa, we have a good start. 9,000 plus pledges. Next. Yay, Latin America! Potentially the biggest Sankirtana spot on the earth. We have some of the best leaders in the world in South America, in Latin America. And they're poised to take the lead, actually, in the world. Personally, I think they're the kindest-hearted people in the world, and all it requires is planning and execution. We can cover Latin America. We can come up 10 times, 100 times bigger than it is now. Let's do it. Let's make this happen before we leave the world, so we can celebrate it as we're stepping out of our body. It's something to offer to Srila Prabhupada. Next. North America. Let's go, people. North America, we're supposed to be in the lead. We're supposed to be beating India. We're supposed to be the wealthiest country in the world. Let's go for it. It's got a lot happening. We can do much, much more. Not that without too much trouble. It just means a little attention spread across the whole continent. So be advocates if you're in North America. Encourage the heck out of everybody and apply the principles. Let's keep growing. Next, I get to see all of you. Here's where it all happens. So we're living entities. We can do stuff. Living entities are smart. We're part and parcel of Krishna. And if we apply our intelligence to serving Krishna, this is the best way. There's no better way to serve Krishna than to think about how to distribute the Krishna consciousness movement. It's all lined up for us. All we have to do is be bold and overcome any kind of obstacles through association together. We can do this as a team, one world team. So now we get to hear from Anuttama Prabhu. No, actually it's quiz time. It's quiz time. I'm sorry to just all of a sudden burden you with a quiz, but we have to test your book distribution IQ to see if you can participate in the Sankirtana movement. Are you ready? Okay, everybody get ready. Here you go. Anukul Seva, you lead this part. You read everything out loud and tell them what to do.
Sure, Maharaj. Thank you. So, dear devotees, we're going to use the polls feature, which you will see in your on your screens. We have 5 questions for you. They should be fairly easy. So please respond by clicking on the right answer. So our first question today is, when do you know your Sankirtan outing is a success? When you distribute at least 10 books, when you collect at least $100, or when you touch the pavement? So go ahead and select the option that you think is right. You should see all 3 of them, and we have the answers coming in. Everyone's picking up on when you touch the pavement. We have some statistician numbers people there as well, who are out there distributing at least 10 books. Great. So our motto is, we just want to go out there and touch the pavement, and everything else is a bonus to reduce the pressure and keep the mood of doing our little bit. Next question is, what is our prime directive? Is it to raise funds? Is it to save fallen conditioned souls, or to leave everyone with a good impression? What are we trying to do when we go out? And this is known as our prime directive. Please choose the right answer. I'm just going to give a few more seconds. So we have good answers coming in. Of course, to leave everyone with a good impression, as well as to save fallen conditioned souls by leaving them with a good impression. So we're doing both of that. Nice. And a few more. Let's see, what do we have next? In expanding the Sankirtan movement, never try to think bold, focus on your obstacles, or assume it can be done. This is a big mantra for this year's marathon, as well as going forward, that we want to assume it can be done. Vaisheshika Prabhu talked about it extensively. We have one person focusing on obstacles. That's also key, to make sure we can avoid them and find alternate ways. Yes, so this campaign, we want to make sure that we assume it can be done, our local goals, our global goals, and find innovative methods to achieve them. All right, a couple more. Our philosophy is a lot of people doing nothing, doing a little bit, eating pakoras. So what is our philosophy? Let's everyone chime in. Everyone's going for doing a little bit. Yeah, a lot of people make light work. So yeah, everyone's chosen doing a little bit. No pakora fans in the audience today. And the last question before we head back into the session, let me find it. Here we go. Book distribution is outdated, not for everyone, fun and easy. This should be an easy one, and everyone's hitting that fun and easy button, and we have everyone voting for that. So yeah, book distribution is fun and easy, and everyone can get involved. So thank you all for participating in the quiz for today. Back to Vaisheshika Prabhu.
Wow, thanks for scoring so high on the quiz, everybody. Now we get to hear from the devotees who are out in the field. And first, we're going to hear from North America. We want to hear from our favorite leader in Canada, Anutama Prabhu, the most affable person on the planet.
Thank you, Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and obeisance to everybody. Happy to announce that in Canada, we have expanded to 20 centers participating in the Live to Give campaign. Last year, we had 16. We had 9 during Bhadra. So that's great that we're having more centers participating and 3 others that are honorary supporting other Sankirtan teams. Corporate Sankirtan is going to be implemented by Toronto, along with Daily Harinam in Montreal, and the Gita Jayanti World Gita Day sponsorships will be big for us this year. And our total, there's the map, and Canada is punching above our weight. We're 10% of the US population, but we have 15% of the pledges. We have pledges from all 20 centers, which is fantastic. And they're having their goals. And they'll be enthusiastically engaged in distribution and reporting in the first week of January. So we are 15% of the pledges here, which is great. And that's the updates. We want to make sure that we want to populate as much of the map as possible, including the middle and prairies and coast to coast. So there you have it. That's Canada right there. It's the best it's ever been. Hare Krishna.
See what I'm saying, everybody? That's what you get from Canada. Complete cooperation, organization. Haribo, go Canada, cover the prairies. Okay, that was fantastic. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Good to see you. And keep up the great work. Now, we're going to hear from Enthusiasm Personified from North America, Nandini Kishori.
Please
We're not
accept my
sure if
humble
there's more than one Nandini Kishori because we find her here, there, and everywhere, all over the planet, doing good things. Please go ahead.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All praise to Srila Prabhupada. So we have a few centers reporting this time because people are in gratitude mode. People are in, people are in gratitude mode. People are in a meeting mode, and Festival of Holy Name was ecstatic at Alachua and stuff. So we are, a few centers reported, but they reported thousands, that their goal is thousands, especially Baltimore, 8,000, ISV, 50,000, led by you, and Alachua, 2,500, DC, 5,000, and many centers like that. We are still waiting to hear from many other centers. And hopefully, I have reminded them twice. Hopefully, third reminder will be the charm. And we continue, from what I learned from you in our own communities, to encourage kids Sankirtan and really do this as a teamwork. And teamwork is increasing in North America. And so, Vaisheshika Prabhu, we are very, very grateful for this. Anytime anybody wants any book delivered any house in any state, we have channels open. So all credit goes to you and Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That's all I have, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Nandini Kishori. And tell Alachua to add another 0 onto that. There's at least 25,000 people there, because anybody you don't know where they are on the planet, they're in Alachua. Please send your pledge, Shamohini said. Your pledge is your wedge. The wedge is perhaps the most useful tool in human history. It has a small end and a big end. The small end can be as smaller than the smallest. You can barely see it, like the edge of a knife. But if you start with something more than 0 and not less than 1, and you dedicate yourself to it, it'll move you off the plateau, move your community off the plateau, and put you on the map. And so that's a good mantra to introduce to those as devotees and communities, community leaders, where you're trying to open up things. You open up with the wedge, and your pledge is your wedge. So don't be afraid to make a pledge. Just has to be something more than 0 and not less than 1. Thank you, Nandini Kishore. That was concise and very powerful. And now we're moving over to perhaps the biggest field of preaching in the world, Africa, where we want to see the lights come up. And one of the leaders of the preaching movement in Africa is Tirumala Devi Dasi. We're fortunate to have her here on the call, live and in person. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So the devotees in Africa are very excited, especially after a really successful Bhadra campaign. So at the moment, our total pledge for Africa is 9,430, but we still have pledges coming in. So we're still waiting for Mauritius to finalize their goal, and Kenya as well. And we're trying to get as many new countries involved as well, so we can light up our map.
Yay, Africa. We see a few lights on there. We're hoping in the next 5 years to see the whole map lit up. There are at least 2,100 languages in Africa. We need translations in every language and representatives for every language. And certainly we can tip the scales in the world just with Africa. Thank you very much, Tirumala. And now we're moving over, as we can through Zoom, to Meenakshi Devi Dasi, one of the pillars of the Sankirtana movement. She keeps herself in the background and is like the power station that's bringing the electricity down, quite out of sight, out of mind. And she is going to present a few ideas that are working well in the realm of Shastradhan. Welcome. Thank you very much for being here, Meenakshi.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So good to see you.
You too.
So I'll just try to share a screen here. So I thought I'd start with what is Shastradhan. I'm sure most of you actually do know what Shastradhan is.
Meenakshi, I think you could put that into presentation mode because it's still in display mode.
Give me 1 second. It is in presentation.
Anukul, what does she have to push?
F5 on the keyboard. Usually does the trick. Or just on the top left. No mother. It's still showing your PowerPoint program icons and all of that. Are you also seeing that?
No, I'll stop share for a second and restart it.
Okay.
Yeah, that might do better. Yeah, so just click that.
Is that better, Prabhu?
No, mother, it's still the same screen. Are you on multiple screens?
No, I'm just on the one screen.
Yeah. Do you see the full presentation on your end?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So are you sharing the tab or the screen? You know, when
I was sharing screen.
Oh, okay. Maybe share you're in that mode. So when you're already in the presentation, if you can share from there, maybe that won't work. Yeah.
Anyway, we can see
go
it.
ahead.
We'll go by the Vani, and we can see enough of this.
Yes, mother. I think you can go ahead. It's visible.
Okay, you can see the actual full screen of it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, what is Shastradhan? As we all know, Shastradhan means gift of knowledge, and it is a way to place books into institutions where people may not have easy access to these books or connection to devotees on the street, that type of thing, especially vulnerable populations such as those maybe in prison or long-term care or hospitals, that type of thing. It is also a good way to engage the congregation in indirect book distribution. So congregation members sometimes are reluctant to go out on the street, distribute themselves, so they can participate in Shastadan by actually sponsoring and giving Lakshmi for these books, and then the Shastadan team in your center can actually go out and distribute these books, place these books into institutions. It's also a great way to expand book distribution in your yatra. So venues that can be included in what we've done here in Toronto includes prisons and correctional institutions. And you can see here actually Srimad Bhagavatams and Bhagavad Gitas in the correctional institutions reference area. Are you able to see this, by the way?
No, Mother, we just see your first slide, which says, what is Shastadan?
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, this is, now we are able to follow along.
Okay. All right. Next is hospitals. Hospitals, there's a couple of different aspects. They also have reference areas, they have chapels, and then they have chaplains or spiritual care providers who actually go and speak to the patients and their families. So it's a wonderful way to get our books into the hospitals and expand book distribution. Another is libraries. As you can see, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gitas in libraries. And if you see, they're officially labeled so people can actually check them out. Courts. We have recently, actually, this was a 2020 initiative, putting them into courts all across the country. So people are used to swearing on a Bible, but as we get more multicultural, why not swear on the Bhagavad Gita? And we're getting a lot of wonderful response from that. Everyone's familiar with little free libraries. Just hop in the car, go around your neighborhood. There is actually an app where you can actually see where they are and place these books into the little free libraries, once to twice a year. Another is, well, I don't even have to say this, Motel Gita is the #1 doing this out of ISV, but we've been doing it also in Canada, all across the country, hundreds and hundreds of hotels and motels. And here you can see it in the drawer and an hotel owner actually agreeing to an interview about the impact. Hospices, end of life, the providers really love this. The families really love this because it really provides some solace as to what's happening. The person's at the end of life, they're dying, what happens next? It gives them some peace. Airports, all have these days multi-faith areas, prayer rooms. So putting books in there, especially soft cover Gitas, is very impactful because somebody goes in and wants to pray, they see the book, they take it with them, they take it on the plane, and they're reading it. Schools, this can be Sunday schools in other temples. This can be actual schools from the Ministry of Education, and that actually includes universities as well. And then another initiative we did in 2020 was the military, the Canadian Armed Forces. That includes the Navy, the Armed Forces, all across. They are loving these books, and they actually ask for smaller books and soft Gitas so that they can give it to the personnel to take along when they are on missions. So a new initiative we did, or some highlights for 2021, are police service divisions, RCMP, long-term care facilities in a big way, children's hospitals, and a focus on Srimad Bhagavatams. With the police, we actually have been able to officially go into the police and RCMP. So we're now, ISKCON is officially recognized for Vedic, Vaishnava, Hindu resources. They have been very enthusiastic and very accepting. They actually did a feature story on their forum and what they call a fan out, emailing to all their member chaplains. And they've also invited us to do a presentation at their Chaplains Connect conference about Vaishnavism and the resources that we have. And police services have already started asking for these books as well, including Srimad Bhagavatam's Bhagavad Gita's smaller titles. Another is focus on Srimad Bhagavatam this year. So here you can see a picture at the Brampton Civic Hospital's Spiritual Care Center, the medical library. We are focused on giving Srimad Bhagavatams to not only hospitals, but libraries, universities, schools, prisons, police associations, and more, including a Sick Kids Hospital. They've also accepted this for their reference area as well. Another is long-term care. So we're doing curated boxes for long-term care. And actually, curated boxes are good for any institution. You might find that, you know, a institution might not want 16 or 24 Bhagavad Gitas. It might be more appropriate to create a kit with SSRs and smaller Gitas, maybe avatar art, Hidden Glories of India. So you can create these curated kits, which are more appropriate and liked by these institutions, and they call back asking for more once they see that selection. So to date from ISKCON Toronto, we've done over 125,000 Gitas and books placed in the Shastadan program. And we have testimonials coming in all the time. I'll just have a couple of here. This is from a hospice saying, I want to thank you for the generous offerings of books to our spiritual library. The Bhagavad Gita I found as a valuable and sacred text and teaching. I thank you so very much. That's the Matthews House Hospice. The Canadian Armed Forces from Moose Jaw, thank you for the Bhagavad Gita books. I am a firm believer that one faith doesn't fit all, and that we are stronger as a society when we can celebrate many faiths. I have a resource wall in my office, which is open 24/7, and anyone can walk in and take resources as they wish. Your books have been placed on the resource wall, and I will let the base know they're available. And this, the Canadian Armed Forces here has actually asked for more books as well, so it is working. This is Maplehurst Correctional, so that's a prison. Again, thanking and saying the inmates are very glad to receive them. We actually have with prisons, we have one institution that's actually asked us for incense. He does puja every morning, the chaplain, with the inmates. And these inmates are not just ones that are from, let's say, South Asia, but they're like Western-bodied individuals as well. So that's going over very well. We have some asking us for japas. We just had somebody ask us a couple of days ago for calendars so that the inmates can know what are the special dates in the Vaishnava calendar. So the prison program has been going on for a few years now and is just wonderful to see the impact and the reaction. This doesn't happen just in one stream. It's one dream, one goal, one team, which means that it takes the effort of quite a number of team members front end, calling people, visiting people, explaining it, presentations, congregation members sponsoring, back end, getting the books from BBT LA or from India, packing, curating, all of these things go together to make it happen. And so here's just a couple of pictures. That's Canpar picking up the books, we're presenting, calling, congregation involvement, books ready to go. Here's curating happening. You can see more books going. So, and I just thought, the impact of Shastadan is truly, truly effective. And this is actually a letter, part of a letter that was written by an inmate. And I thought if you would want to read that, it says, again, thank you doesn't seem like enough to repay all that you've done for me. So hopefully the knowledge that my life has been transformed by these teachings will be a help to you and your mission for Srila Prabhupada. And it goes on that he smiles every time he reads it, and he's definitely been changed by these teachings. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. So this is an inmate who is in prison for a very, very violent crime, and he has actually been transformed. The chaplain has been completely impressed and speaks to us all the time about the transformation of this individual. And he's not the only one, there's multiple. So yeah, this is, again, Prabhupada says right here, The more such literatures are read and distributed, the more auspicity there will be in the world. So we're just trying to do our small part here in Toronto for Shastadan, and it certainly can be replicated in centers around the world globally. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
That was a whole feast, Meenakshi. Fantastic. That's something we need, that your presentation needs to be propagated all over the world. Thank you very much for all you're doing. Amazing. And all glories to the Team Canada. Now we have Divyanam Prabhu coming from UK. He's overseeing all of Europe and is fresh off of meetings and has lots to report right from his space pod. I think he's heading up to another planet to distribute books also. Go ahead, Divyanam Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. My obeisances to you and all the Vaishnavas. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. From Europe, Maharaj, we are slightly behind in terms of getting the pledges. They have started to come in. So by Wednesday next week, I'll have all the pledges reported into Anukul Seva Prabhu and Shama Mohini Mataji, our central team. But they are slowly and steadily coming through. The devotees are still relishing those last 2 weeks of your association, especially the Sankirtana orientation seminar and the Europe meeting we had. So it has been a very effective 2.5 weeks with you being here. So the effect of that will be felt in hopefully in the pledges to come. But more importantly, everybody's gearing up to prepare for the next year. We're looking to do at least 20% extra in terms of what will be delivered in 2021. And in all areas across Europe, especially as we get into the Live to Give campaign. So for example, we are trying, after your presentation and the manner devotees are trying the Saptarishi sets, I think the Gita project, I mean, the Shastadan, which I saw, we have a similar project in UK called the Gita project. And they are providing the similar services. Nearly over 100,000 books have been placed across Europe, in chaplains, in hospitals, in care homes. And so that is
this year.
Yes.
100,000 this year. Yes, please go ahead.
We have 2 more. I think I've reached out to Mahabharat Prabhu, who was here with us, and I'll be requesting him for the pledge, as you said. More than 1, no less than 1, and more than 0. So we'll have Mahabharat Prabhu adding up Denmark on our European map, and a couple of other countries. I'm just waiting a confirmation, like Holland through Vishwambar Prabhu, and I think there's 1 more country, Maharaj. So yeah, more to come in the coming weeks. You'll have a more a sort of a detailed map with the pledges all around it. But thank you for your visit, Maharaj, and yeah, Europe will definitely be on the rise in the coming year.
Yeah, Europe is on the way up in a big way. Thank you very much, Divyanam Prabhu. We'll be hearing lots more from Europe. We had a successful meeting there, 60 leaders from around Europe. A program organized by Divyanam Prabhu recently got together and came up with a 5-year plan to increase by at least 20% a year in remittances to the BBT. So keep up the great work in Europe. Now we have the main feature of the day, and that is His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami has joined us from Africa, and one of the pioneers of the Sankirtana movement and one of the leaders of the Sankirtana movement from the executive level. His heart, however, is always on the street with the Sankirtana devotees, and therefore we find it highly beneficial to get his association. Thank you for taking your valuable time, Maharaj, to come and speak a few words to us about the importance of the Sankirtana movement. Over to you, to your holiness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vaisheshika Prabhu. I am not the main feature. I'm just a little tiny little cog in the wheel, at least trying to be and not to get in the way. But thank you very much for kindly inviting me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestad Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Adwaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyas cha kripa sindhubhyevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Well, yes, again, thank you very much, Vaisheshika Prabhu and your team, for giving me this opportunity to render a little service to Prabhupada's book distribution mission. When I was a new devotee back in 1970, early to mid 1970s, then as the book distribution explosion was just really building up, then we came up with a little motto, you could say, something like that. 100 a day keeps Maya away, which is true, at least in my experience. I experienced whenever I did 100 books in a day or more, it was just so wonderful. What a wonderful experience. And this program of distributing, I think it's 2.2 million Bhagavad Gitas, or yeah, something like that. And my gosh, what a wonderful, wonderful project. And I'm totally sure Srila Prabhupada is just watching, and he is just ecstatic. He's just ecstatic, and I'm sure he's very appreciative of the efforts that you're all making, in particular Vaisheshika Prabhu. There's one aspect of the whole program. It's a subtlety, you could say, but it's a really important subtlety. And that is that, Prabhupada told us very clearly that when it comes to dealing with the ordinary people in the streets, we should rather give them a book rather than get into a whole sort of, you might say, spiel with them and, in our own way, try to convey the message. Rather, we should focus, our part in conveying the message really is to speak nicely so they take a book. And then the book, the message will really come from the book. Prabhupada said something to the effect, what will your speech for 2 minutes achieve? Because we are neophytes. I think we're generally trying our best or trying to try our best, but still we are neophytes. And our level of realization and knowledge and ability to present is just nothing like Srila Prabhupada at all. So, but a point I've been thinking about in relation to this project is that Bhagavad Gita specifically is the Vani of Lord Krishna. I think we're all familiar with the terms and the concepts of Vapu and Vani. Vapu meaning the physical form of, in this case, Lord Krishna, or of Srila Prabhupada, the Vapu. and the Vani meaning the instructions, but not just instructions like sort of facts and figures type of instructions, but Vani in the sense that the person who is giving the instructions, that person is present in their instructions. So Bhagavad Gita is the Vani of Lord Krishna. He's present. It's not just that he spoke some words, even just really wonderful words that can help so much, like almost unlimitedly. It's not just that, but he is actually present. And therefore, if we really study Bhagavad Gita, really study, eventually we'll meet Lord Krishna in the pages, literally. For example, Srila Prabhupada, at one point in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Narada Muni is figuring prominently, which, you know, there's quite a number of such places, but in one place where Narada Muni is instructing, I forget who exactly, but someone, and Srila Prabhupada says, we would like to thank Narada Muni for appearing in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. And, you know, Prabhupada as a realized soul, when he says appearing in the pages, he means, you know, actually being present as much as I'm present here now, and we're all present through our different connections on Zoom here. And it's a real presence of all of us. So Narada Muni was actually present. So Lord Krishna is actually present in his instructions in Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada is there also in his purports. It's a real presence. So I was thinking about this principle in the context of like different ways in which we relate or interact with the Lord. I was thinking particularly of deity worship and also of the chanting of the holy names, because we know, we accept that the Lord is present in the deity. The deity is not just a statue to remind us, but the deity is the Lord. And the holy names are the Lord. They're not just some, you know, special words, but the Lord is actually there. And in due course, as Prabhupada said, we pray, we can realize that the Lord is actually dancing on our tongues when we chant, and we'll actually be conscious of his presence. But the thing is that, particularly if we talk about the deity, that there are stories, there are some amazing accounts, Chaitanya Charitamrita and other places, of deities speaking and acting, and particularly speaking, you know, like the story of Sakshi Gopal in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there's a number of stories of that nature where the Lord actually starts saying to someone, listen, you know, you must do this and you must do that, just as I'm speaking in my own way here. So, but that only happens, you know, that doesn't happen every day to all of us, or if you don't mind me saying, maybe any of us. But And this is just such an important point. You know, it's only these exalted devotees, oh my gosh, who the Lord, the deity actually speaks to, and they converse and so on. You know, Sanatan Goswami with Madan Mohan. You know, well, you know, you got to take my bhakti without salt, when Madan Mohan complained. But now with the books, the thing is that here Krishna is speaking and Prabhupada is speaking. They're actually speaking, which anyway, like I said, you know, anyone who tells you that the deity, any one of our current, you know, devotees who says, yeah, well, you know, I go in front of the deities, they tell me this and that, and we talk. You got to know there's some craziness going on there. But now here in the books, Krishna's speaking. Prabhupada is speaking. And not just to some exalted, special devotee, but even to the rank non-devotees, you know, who are just in some, you know, weird space. This is special. This means that in terms of Vapu and Vani, these forms of the Lord, that the book form of the Lord, the book form of the devotee, particularly Srila Prabhupada, this is unique. You know, the deity forms, oh, they are just so wonderful. The holy names, they're just so wonderful. Yeah, they're just so wonderful. But the book is special. It's uniquely special in that the Lord is speaking and the pure devotee Srila Prabhupada is speaking. So this is a little meditation we can have when we're engaged in this program and in the different ways we may be engaged, particularly if we're doing the, shall we say, marketing. You can be aware of what is the significance of what you're doing. What are you giving the people? It's just completely incredible and most wonderful. So therefore, it's just a great project. It's a fantastic project. And, you know, obviously in the broader sense, any book distribution, Prabhupada's books, it's the same principle. It's all just glorious. It's amazing and wonderful. And we are fortunate, of all people, little us. Who are we? My gosh. We're so fortunate to get this opportunity to act as a representative, as a via medium in our own little ways for Krishna to express himself, for Prabhupada to express himself to the conditioned souls. So I wish you all the very, very, very best. And I pray to Krishna to empower you, inspire you, give you the intelligence and the strength. And I'll pray to do my little part myself. And we'll be waiting to hear the results in just a little while. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki jai. Marge, if you would, for a moment, indulge us, we would like to show you a few maps so you have an idea of the pledges that are here so far. And we'll just breeze through them. So, of course, the 2.2 million, and we say at least 2.2 million because we'd like to smash that goal. And here's how it plays out worldwide so far. Not all the pledges are in. We're still waiting for them. But Australia is at 8,600, and you can see how it breaks down. Next, we have New Zealand. And then we move over to Fiji. Then Africa, where our heart's desire is for Africa to surpass India by covering the entire continent with lights over 2,100 languages. This is our prayer to you. Please empower us to do that. Next, Latin America, poised actually to be to take the lead in the world. We're very confident of that with the leadership there. And we have North America.
Sure.
Then there's a couple more continents to show, but that gives you an idea of the portion that we're working with on this call right now. And I found your analogy and reminder of how the books speak directly to anybody to be extremely profound and helpful. And as a reminder to go deeply within the books, take advantage myself, and also when we're handing them out to other people all over the planet in different languages. I just now have this image in my head about how the deity speaks only to very special devotees, but the books speak to everybody. That's really great, Maharaj. Thank you so much for being here. It enlivens all of us, and it's extremely meaningful that you come here and advocate.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our last segment, and you're free to stay for it. And I know you're busy also, Marge, so you're free to go also.
I've got another program.
I figured you would.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More Premanande, Haribo.
Haribo. Haribo.
So our last presentation are coming from Prema and Premi from South America, Latin America, to tell us what's happening down there. We'll end on a high note.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances, glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we are right now in Uruguay. Here for the last years, there were very few books in Uruguay, but by your inspiration and all the global team, we printed by the BBT 9,000 books, and now we print another 9,000 books. And here everybody is very excited for this marathon. So we have a lot of books to distribute, and we were working as a team with the Latin America BBT and also with the Brazilian BBT, because there is a little bit cheaper and easy to bring the books here to this country. And so we are following your footsteps and working together to please Srila Prabhupada also, as we read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that he will be very pleased by our effort to work together. So we are very, very happy to be in this part of the world, trying to spread Krishna consciousness and receiving all your blessings, all the devotees' blessings. It will be wonderful. So thank you. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. I really love that. Hearing about how you're printing down there at the Brazilian BBT and how the devotees are all cooperating. This is real progress. Thank you very much for taking the leadership position there. Hare Krishna. And someday soon, maybe we can all meet down there.
Yeah,
we'll have our retreat at your house. Everyone invited.
Please.
Haribo. Well, it's been an eventful meeting. These meetings that we're having are historical. They're meant to build a team that will work together all over the world, creating a channel through which millions of books a day will be pumped into human society to change the course of the world. And we seek what many people find impossible, that is working together as a global team. This is our ultimate goal for finding workarounds, and it takes numerous workarounds to accommodate different cultures, different personalities, but it's worth it for the common cause of expanding Prabhupada's book distribution. I also propose that it's a viable way to not only unite the Krishna consciousness movement around this principle, but also, as Prabhupada stated, the seventh purpose of ISKCON, which was to print and distribute books, would help us to achieve the aforementioned goals, the purposes. So it's a holistic endeavor, but because book distribution is so quantifiable, easy to measure, it lends well to us working on goals together and then exporting all of the various assets that we accrue from working together into the rest of the movement, not the least of which is the kind of oxygen in the form of enthusiasm that we get by vicariously experiencing again and again the importance of Krishna consciousness when we see it in the eyes of those that we meet everywhere while we're distributing books. I was especially impressed by the presentations today. Govardhan Prabhu, that's amazing. He was on the call today. Thank you very much for being there. We're looking forward to Africa beating India. That's my heartfelt desire. And for South America to take the lead in the world. And for Alachua to add one more zero onto their number, because there's at least that many devotees there. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everybody. Dear Srila Prabhupada, well, let me just check in and make sure there's nothing else. Yes, please go ahead, Shamahini.
Hare Krishna.
Tell
We
us
just
what we're
want,
doing.
we want to announce that the World Gita Day celebration will take place on December 18th and 19th. And the Yagya for the Gita Jayanti festival and for the Live to Give campaign, where all the names of the devotees who have participated till that time will take place on the 14th, which is the actual day of Gita Jayanti. A Yagya will be organized in Kurukshetra, and the names of all the participants will be offered and will also be scrolled on the screens. So these are the dates for you to mark: the 14th of December, which is the actual day of Gita Jayanti, and the World Gita Day Festival, 18th and 19th. And the idea for the World Gita Day Festival, like last year, is to have a global Gita experience to showcase how the Bhagavad Gita is influencing and affecting lives of people all around the world. We have several presentations from around the world, from New Zealand all the way up to North America. If your region has not yet signed up for a performance, please contact us and we'd be more than happy to have you on the global schedule. A reminder to all the teams to please make a pledge for the Live to Give campaign, because as we all must have memorized by now, your pledge is your wedge, and that's going to take you all the way. So please take the time to make a pledge and report it, so that the next time when we meet again next weekend on Sunday, December 5th, that we can have the maps updated with more pledges from around the world. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shamahini. Thank you, Anukul Seva, for organizing all these meetings, for keeping everybody on track, all of us. We're so deeply grateful to you both and to the whole team that's working behind the scenes 24 hours a day. I can contact them at least 24 hours a day. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Shri Lakshmana Shringadev. If you so desire, please empower our global team to increase capacity through which we distribute an ever-increasing number of Srila Prabhupada's books to benedict the world with the transcendental sound vibration coming from the lotus mouth of His divine grace and from the original scriptures themselves, who talk directly to conditioned souls, unlike deities. thank you very much for considering our request. Everyone who resonates with this prayer in part or in whole, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna.
Haribo! Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna! Vancha Kalpadrusha, Kripa Sindhave,